Hey guys, welcome back to Release the Craftin. We're still here for the final day of the Haunted Tales Challenge. That's hashtag Haunt Your Crafts, which has been a week-long challenge hosted by myself and my friend Belle at Bella Boo Creations. You guys, this is the last day. This is the last day. It's a little sad. This went by so much faster than I thought it was going to, which is crazy because it's only 7 days, so I don't know how long I thought it was going to feel. But time is an elusive creature when you have ADHD, and I don't understand how that works. So yeah, it just whoosh, we're already at the end. I can't believe it. And for day 7, the prompt is Frankenstein by the incomparable Mary Shelley. The tagline for it is, he played God but lost his own humanity in the process. And you guys, Frankenstein's a classic. Like, it's a classic. What am I going to say? There's nothing I'm going to add, I think, to this discussion that's really going to be particularly nuanced, because it's just like, you can't go wrong with a good Frankenstein. Although I will say, and I talked about this 7 days ago, that every film adaptation we have ever gotten of Frankenstein, minus the Netflix one, because I haven't seen it still. I know, I will eventually. So I can't speak on that one. But to my knowledge, and I'm feeling very, very confident, that it also includes the Frankenstein one, because the Netflix one. There's never been a proper film adaptation of this novel. And that's for a couple of reasons. One being, if you've ever actually read this book, you'll realize immediately that it's like nothing you've watched. Because the original, like, Universal horror with Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster is so iconic that it sort of reshaped how we view this story. And actually, if you dig down a little bit, there's a couple other things that also change sort of the perspective on Frankenstein and how the story is sort of viewed, that like led up to the production of the movie. And then there's things in the movie that just never happen in the book, which is common for film adaptations. But because it was so iconic at the time, it became the standard for everything going forward, to the point where it's like, you kind of didn't even read the book, did you? You just watched the movie and said, I'm going to do a Frankenstein too. And that's how a lot of these adaptations go. Oh, bless you. Oh my gosh. That's my cat sneezing. So yeah. Why is it different? How is it different? Well, essentially, without spoiling anything too much, but like, this is a hard one to not spoil because it's been out there for a minute and it's very, very popular. In essence, we start with the story about young Victor Frankenstein, who is a kind of shithead kid who grows up to be kind of a shithead person. I am not a Victor Frankenstein fan. I find him to be insufferable at best. But at any rate, he's kind of a weird kid. He's just like a weird, gross, nerdy kid, and he grows up to be a weird, gross, nerdy man who is obsessed with finding out the elixir of life. He wants to understand the secret of life, so he devotes all of his time and energy into studying it. He studies the sciences. He's engaged to his cousin, and everyone's like waiting for him to get married to her, but he's like, I can't, I gotta do a science. And he has a friend whose name I literally looked up before we started, I promise you guys, and I've already forgotten. But he has a friend who's like a regular cool dude who's just like, hey, this quiet, lonely kid, like, hey, why don't you be my friend? You kind of suck, and everybody says you suck, but like, I'll be friends with you because I'm a cool guy. Like, that's his friend. And they're like tight. Some would even say that they were roommates. No, I'm kidding. But like, they're really good friends, and like, he goes with him to school, then they part ways, but like, you know, all the time he's just like, oh, my bestie, my bestie, my bestie. This happens a lot in the story. And he ends up getting really into like galvanism and science, and he sees lightning and gets inspired by that. And then he's like, okay, I got it. So he starts to work like on his own, in his own laboratory, developing a body that he is going to animate and bring life to. And you know what? As fate would have it, he does. He animates this creature, brings him up from nothing to life. And he sees what he's made and is so horrified by his creation that he turns around and runs away and locks the door behind him. And yeah, he absolutely dips. He creates life, and then he's like, oh no, I've made a mistake. I've done fucked up. So he dips right on out of there. He gets out of the space. And he just leaves. And in fact, he's so shaken up that the next day when he ends up running into his bestie's like, hey, bro, you good? Like, you want to go hang out? And he's like, yeah, I think I do want to go hang out. I don't even know what to do with myself. So his bestie's like, okay, yeah, like, come with me. So he takes care of him for a while. Then he's like, let's go hunting. Let's get out in some fresh air, get you out of this stank, musty castle. And he's like, yeah, totally. And he just leaves. You guys, I can't even stress enough that he made something, saw that it was alive, and then just shut the door and left. And just continued on with his life like he hadn't done anything. And he's absolutely doing it with this, like, intention of being like, if I just ignore it enough, it'll go away. And so he fucks off. He's all having a good old time. He goes back to school for language now. He's no longer a science guy. He's gonna learn language with his bestie, and they're gonna have a great time. And things seem great for a while until he gets news that his little brother has been murdered. And then he's like, oh shit. So he goes home to see, like, what's up. And he ends up finding out that his little brother has been murdered. And the person that they are blaming is their longtime, well-trusted housekeeper who has never done anything wrong. Because it turns out, yeah, the monster killed his little brother. He did it on purpose. And, yeah, this also upsets Victor. This is a whole story about how Victor gets upset at something and either gets sick about it, runs away, or goes on a quest for vengeance. That is this entire story. And it's all told from his perspective, too. So, like, this is his recounting, because I probably should have mentioned this, but at the start of the story, it opens up with this, like, ship's captain, this crew. They see this, like, giant hulking creature fling across the ice, and then they're like, oh, what's that? And then right behind it, a couple minutes later, is like a dude with nope, I'm telling it wrong. The creature has a sled of dogs. What they end up finding is a guy who's like about to die on the ice with one dog left. They save him, they bring him inside. This is Victor Frankenstein. He was pursuing the thing that was crossing the ice. And so he's telling this whole story to the ship captain, who's like listening to this entire tale with more believability than I think I would have given anyone credit for, even if I had seen a giant monstrous creature fleeing across the ice. I'd be like, everything you say is a lie. Because why are you out here, sir? But he listens to everything, and he's like, wow, like, this is the craziest story. And he's even trying to, like, ask him questions, get some feedback, and he's like, no. I'm not trying to teach you how to build life. I'm telling you this to warn you of what happens when you do it. And so, like, the whole story is Victor's account of what's, like, happened and occurred. And, so he vows to, like, get revenge on this monster immediately out of the gate because he killed his little brother. And he's like, no, I need you to listen to me because you made me, and now you're gonna listen to me because not only do I speak perfect French, but I'm alive, you asshole. So then he proceeds to tell Victor all about everything he's been experiencing since Victor abandoned him in this laboratory to go fuck off and hang out with his best friend. And he ends up telling him about how he's been crashing in these people's little hut that's attached to their house, watching them through the wall. It's this little happy family of, like, a dad, a son, a sister, and eventually the son's fiance/wife. And he watches them, he watches their interactions, and then he starts to learn the language from them. And then when the son moves his wife in, they have to teach her French. And so he's learning how to speak from them. And he spends so much time watching them and their peaceful life that he's like, I think that they're, like, really good people. So, like, if I reveal myself, like, things will be fine, and they'll accept me as I am. Because he had tried before, like, in his journey to these people, he had tried to be like, hey, I'm a cool guy, but people treated him like a monster because of how he looks. And then he always had to, like, wonder, like, why would my creator make me so hideous? he had the choice to make me, and he chose to make me like hideous and gross, and now people are terrified of me just by the sight of me. So he's like dealing with all of these things, and then he finally decides to introduce himself to the family when it's just the old man alone by himself, because the old man is blind. So he tries to like tentatively get in there, and he does. He's in there and he's talking to the old man, and the old man's like treating him like a normal person, and everything's great. And he's like, oh my god, like maybe there is hope, maybe I can get in with society. But what happens is that when the rest of the family comes home, the sister faints, the wife runs away, and the brother's like, I gotta fight it because it's a threat, right? So then he's like, there's no hope for me, because I thought like I would find some sort of refuge with these good people, but they didn't accept me either. And so he was like, so then I knew that the only thing left for me to do was to get revenge on you. And so the monster isn't just like well spoken, you guys, he's really intelligent, like super intelligent. And so he comes up with this plan, not to just like start picking off members of Victor's family and destroying the things he loves, but also to blame other people. He sets up this whole thing to pin it on this nursemaid, on purpose. So like he's crafting a plot here. He's got schemes on schemes, and he's like, and now I'm here before you, and what I want is a companion. I can't live without like community, right? So I want you to make me a bride. And then Victor's like, oh man, gee whiz, golly, that's a lot to ask for. And he's like, no, it's not, because you freaking made me and then you abandoned me. So the least you can do is make me somebody that I can have as a companion, and then we will go away to live like alone in the wilderness as hermits, and you'll never hear from me again. And so Victor's like, okay, yeah, this seems like the best arrangement to keep you from murdering all my loved ones, so I'll do it. And he spends months. We have the zoomies, that's the noise you hear in the background. But he spends months hemming and hawing and coming up with like excuses, and like, oh, I have to get supplies over here, and I need to get some more information over there, and I need to travel a bit. Then he runs into his best friend again, and he's like, oh, I also have to get married to my cousin. Well, just all these things are just so like inconvenient, and I gotta get them done. And then the creature's like, hey, if you don't do this, I will be there on your wedding night. Like, I'm gonna be there when you get married to your cousin, and it's not gonna go good for you. And he's like, yeah, totally. But then he's like, no, I just decided after going all the way out here, and I think it's the Orkney Islands he goes to like start his new laboratory to build the bride. And he builds the bride, but he doesn't animate her. And he's like, I'm just gonna toss this into the sea and go back to my life and get married and settle down, and this is too crazy for me. And when he does this, he gets married, he's like, okay, everything's fine, like I haven't seen the monster in a while, everything's cool, but I can't get rid of this sense of foreboding and the feeling that I'm being watched. Then he hears screaming up in his room. Turns out, yeah, the monster also killed his bride, like he said he would do it. And eventually he finds out that the monster kills other people that he cares about, and it sets him on this whole thing to go chase the monster around the world, which is how he ended up in this situation in the first place. And that's essentially 95% of the story without the last 5% of the book. So your guess as to how it ends if you haven't read the book already, but it's just such a crazy story, and I like, honestly, it's a little bit difficult, I think, for me to read. It's not my favorite read of the books that we've like shared with you guys so far, because I find Victor to be so insufferable, and I just cannot stand to listen to him whine when everything is the consequences of his own actions. And he has this responsibility to the thing that he made, and he's like, no, actually, I'm gonna dip, I'm gonna choose myself. And it's like, hey friend, you can't do that, because you have the responsibility of creating life. So like, there's a lot of interesting themes, I think, in this story. One about like the ethics, right, behind creating life, choosing to play God. It's why I chose to use a picture of like Zeus with lightning and like the pantheon of muses and stuff around him, because the lightning features in the story. He's playing God, Zeus is a god. It was kind of like something that I was like, this is the right vibe for this. And I think it's one of those things like you would anger the gods if you were trying to play God. So like, I think it all kind of works together there. That great image of Frankenstein, which I ended up using the grit paste with, and then I used embossing enamel. I just set that on top and then sort of smooshed it a little bit into the grit paste while it was still wet, and then came back and heated it up once it was dry, which is a great way to use embossing enamel in particular because it's thicker than embossing powder is. So like usually you have to heat it from like beneath your project to get it to start melting before you can heat it from the top, because it doesn't just stick to like whatchamacallit, to embossing ink. Like it doesn't just stick to like your Versamark. It tends to fly off like in chunks. So you have to heat it from below to get it started and then heat it from the top. But another way is to have it actually affixed to your thing. So you can do that with like a thicker glue, or in this case I did it with the texture paste, which is a great way to grunge it up and get that across. I keep forgetting to say it like in these last couple ones. I added extra challenges to my pages, and for this set it was grunge, it was a secret pocket, and a belly band. So that is what I made. I keep forgetting. I don't know what it is. I think in my determination to get my videos done, I've just been like churning them out, and so I haven't been concentrating on like touching all the bases for you. But I mean, there's some other things here, like in what makes a man, how do you determine like life. There's I guess like there's been quite a bit in this story. It's like the start of modern sci-fi and horror. Really got its kick from Mary Shelley's book. She's wildly influential in the field, and the crazy part is that it came from like a night of telling stories with her husband, and Percy Shelley and Lord Byron, who is one of my favorite poets, but like one of the biggest trash people who's trash people. And not like in the trash people he was a horrible like individual, but just like he was a hot mess all the time, but kind of in a fun way. So yeah, I don't know, I love his poetry, but he was a hot mess. And actually I was gonna like spend some time telling you guys about the night and like my usual animated way that they created the story, but honestly it would just be like me telling you guys what they did in Drunk History. So I'm gonna link the clip to the Drunk History segment on it, because first of all I think it's the funniest thing ever, but it's also like a really great telling of how she came up with the story and like what she was dealing with at the time. So I'm gonna link it there because it's so funny, and it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it already. But also it would be the entirety of the backbone of my retelling of that event. So there's that, but there's just something to think about, like hanging out with your husband and his bisexual lover. And everything is very sexy and cool at this time. There's a lot of hookups and stuff happening in this house, and there's also another dude that's there who's kind of weird, but he's okay. But like, you know, they all said about this writing challenge, and they kind of like play it down like, oh, whatever your wife writes is gonna be like not as good as us because we're cool writer men, who are like poets and recognized as such. And she's like, hey, what if I hit you with a banger? And it's like the hardest novel that anyone's ever written, and there's just some like things in there that I think sort of echo the not just the like human experience, but also the like feminine experience of being full of rage and having to like rebel against like the toxic patriarchy that has like sort of set you up to fail from the get-go. And there's a lot here about loneliness and companionship and wanting someone who is like you to go through life with, even if you're not like everybody else. I mean, there's just so much to explore. I don't think I'm able to get through it all in this like little tiny thing. I love Frankenstein. Not my favorite of like the classic like Universal monsters, but like one of the greats, right? Like just way up there, up high. And so much to the point that I didn't even want to overcomplicate like my make for this, because I just wanted like that Frankenstein image to sort of stand on its own. It does sort of call back the movie Frankenstein version, but I'm okay with that. I'm not mad about it. The movie is great. Was it Boris Karloff? Now I'm doubting if it was Boris Karloff. I feel very confident that when I said it was Boris Karloff, it was Boris Karloff. But now I feel doubtful, and I don't know why. That's weird. I will say I did have a couple hiccups with this. I accidentally glued the bottom of my little acetate window up, and so I couldn't put the entirety of the acetate into it, so I had to cover it up with a little piece of like dyed sari silk, which worked out just fine. It actually added to the spooky like vibes of the piece, but I was like, okay. But all in all, I had fewer mistakes on this one than I did with any of the other makes, which is very interesting, because I anticipated worse, especially after the track run I've been on of having to make like corrections for issues and stuff. But I don't know, this has been a very fun challenge for me. I would love to do like a deep dive into Frankenstein and do like a whole Frankenstein inspired journal, because there's just so much to go through, and like so much more than I have the time to here, and I want to make sure that I finish my video correctly without like having to rush through to the end. But I want to say like a big shout out and a big thank you to my friend Belle. Belle, I know your name. Belle at Bellaboo Creations. I was going to say them all as one word. Just a big shout out to her. She's an amazing creator and creative person, and I was just so pleased that she was like down to collaborate and do this little challenge with me. And don't worry, you guys, because we already started talking about stories for next year, so it is definitely going to make a return. Probably not on a Memorial Day weekend, but you know, it is what it is, and it is out there, and we're going to approach this again with some more spooky stories to haunt your crafts with. And I hope that you guys had a good time, even if you weren't able to participate in this run. First of all, you can participate at any time. Just because it's not the time that we're posting doesn't mean that you can't come back and make some stuff to haunt your crafts. You can do that anytime you want. We're approaching the final countdown towards Halloween, so you got all summer to haunt your crafts, especially if you want to listen to the stories first, if you're the kind of person who wants to do that. They're linked in that playlist in the description, as well as all the other videos I could find for all the people who made the stuff. Make sure you check out the hashtag on Instagram as well, so you can see the people who made stuff over there. There's some really cool things, some cool like ideas and stuff happening over there as well. But yeah, just a big shout out to Belle. Make sure you guys check out her video, check out her channel, because she's an amazing person and she deserves all the love and attention. And then check out the other people who made things in the playlist, because yeah, just such cool stuff. It was honestly a delight to see everybody's take on the stories, and there were even people who hadn't read the stories or weren't familiar with them participating in the challenge. So don't feel like you had to if you're still like, well, I don't know because I haven't read the book yet. You did not have to. There were people who participated who didn't, and they posted their videos, and they were like also really delightful to see. It was delightful to just to kind of see the interpretations of the story, and then see for the people who didn't read what they sort of came up with just based on the summary. It was like really fun. It was like a really fun thought experiment, and surprisingly very, very accurate and good. So like, also really fun. And then it's just fun to do something a little spooky at this time of year. You know, we're crawling into summer. We're already in summer here in Texas, but like the rest of the world is crawling into summer, and it's a good time. It's a good time to get spooky, and I just had such a good time doing this. And I am keeping my envelope book, so I'll have something to look back on this challenge in particular, and I think it'll be kind of fun if I continue this trend next year. So I don't know. Who knows how I feel next year? Next year I might be like, I'm just making tags. But I want to keep the stuff that I make, to keep like a record of these books and stuff, because it's stuff that I've read. So it is like having a visual record of things that I have read, which is kind of fun. I will do a final flip through of everything soon. Ish. Just depends. And then for those of you who are concerned, yes, I will be seeing a doctor and trying to address my fatigue issues before they get as bad as they were last year. Because yeah, that it is really kind of taking me out, which is why we're again in speed up mode, and I'm doing this in a voiceover. It's because I am very, very tired, and just okay, I had to get stuff done, and so the choice was I could talk and craft for 7 hours, or I could do this in a couple of hours and just speed it up a little bit and come back and talk to you guys with like a burst of energy. So that's where we are. But yes, I will be following up with the doctor. Some of you guys have asked me if I was going to, because I was talking about my fatigue again. And yes, I will be trying to see if we can address that and get to the root of it again, because, yeah, I don't want to go down like I did last summer. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I also put the prompt list on the back page, which I usually don't save the prompt list for my challenges. I just sort of go, oh, it's on the blog, like I can get it anytime I want. But this one I felt like it needed to be part of the thing. So, like, it's kind of cool, and I really like how everything came out. I like this little flip up with the bugs, because I was like, it's like bugs on a corpse, you know, like I'm being a weirdo. I like the imagery for this one. I think it's really pretty, and like a very like ambient like blue tone, considering that it's Frankenstein. Who you think would be more green tones? Even though I used a green color, a lot of the imagery and stuff reads really blue. So, like, I don't know. I just really like it, and I hope that you guys had fun with the Haunted Tales challenge. I hope you had fun haunting your crafts. Let me know what your favorites were, what your favorite day was, your favorite story, your likes, your dislikes, your feedback. I'm absolutely open to. If you have like thoughts and feelings about the challenge and want to tell me, pop it in the comments. I would love to hear it, because it's all good. It's all gravy. Like, anything helps, and if it's something that I can improve on for next year's challenge, then I absolutely want to hear that. So, yeah, pop it in the description box below. And then, like I said, don't forget to go check out Belle's video. Give her a bunch of love as well, because she collaborated on this with me. It was not my solo idea, and I don't want it to, like, detract from her sparkle. And then check out the playlist so you can see what everybody else came up with. And then I will catch you guys all soon, but in the next one. So until then, guys, happy crafting and goodbye. I appreciate your faces.